Hello, you Midas Mighty. Harry Litman of Talking Feds here with my reaction to Steve Bannon's sentencing earlier today. So recall, Bannon was convicted of contempt for Congress in basically disregarding the subpoena from the January 6th committee. They referred it to the department, which agreed and brought an action against him. He was convicted, and now it was time for the actual sentence. Bannon's continued to be a complete sort of swashbuckling outlaw through it all. He didn't play by the rules kind of flamboyantly, and in my mind, I think he cares more about this outlaw image, which among other things is very profitable for him, than he does the criminal sentence he has to get. He asked for probation. The Department of Justice asked for 6 months. Contempt of Congress is a misdemeanor. And while there were 2 counts, it was pretty clear they would run concurrently, so 6 months would be somewhat hefty. Anyway, the court gave him 4 months, less than the department asked for. Still, something of a hit. But all in all, it's a better day for Bannon than for the department. First, Bannon got a fine well under the maximum of $200,000, even though he refused, I've never heard of a defendant doing this, he refused to provide financial information to the probation office, reminiscent of a certain former president. And he said, just give me the maximum. And far more importantly, the court permitted him to remain at liberty pending an appeal, which is, 6 months at a minimum. Now that usually you're supposed to go into incarceration when you're convicted, but a district court can withhold that and give you leave to stay out if the court finds that there is a substantial issue that you might be able to raise on appeal. I don't see it here. The substantial issue supposedly was Bannon's wanting to have the jury hear that he was relying on advice of counsel, but there's strict requirements for that kind of defense. Moreover, the very counsel here said, I never told you that you didn't have to testify because of executive privilege. I told you the exact opposite. So I think the court was absolutely right to say you can't serve this up to the jury, especially because it wouldn't change his guilt. One other quick point about him, by the way, he waited until he had, been criminally indicted and went up to the eve of trial and then said, well, if I comply now, will you dismiss the charges? And of course, that's not how it works. He'd already been guilty of the crime. So really, he just tried to have special rules all the way through. And after getting the sentence, which was by and large favorable to him today, especially on staying out pending appeal, he took to the steps with his lawyers and just gave this tub-thumping campaign speech to vote for Republicans, taking advantage and exploiting the fact that he had a little bit of a bully pulpit because people were watching based on the sentence. If you're a prosecutor, that was really a repugnant moment. You can't imagine a defendant acting less contrite and less, acknowledging of the crime. He was really a jackass from start to finish. But anyway, he's a jackass who remains at liberty while the appeal goes forward, and who otherwise, when the time comes, will have to do 4 months. And I think that probably will be the eventual result, but not for a while. So there you have it, Midas Mighty. Harry Litman here. We've got our own YouTube channel now. You can check us out. And a lot seems to be happening. And when quick reaction is called for, I'll be back to give it to you. Until then, talk to you later.
MeidasTouch is unapologetically pro-democracy. And look, we know you are too. So please make sure you check out our best-selling shirt and our best-selling gear, the unapologetically pro-democracy gear. And hey, while you're at it, make sure you check out my favorite shirt and one of our most famous designs. It wasn't rigged, you're just a loser. At store.meidastouch.com. That's store.meidastouch.com.